It wasn't just a puppy. John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, is directed by Stahelski and starring Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Laurence Fishburne, Halle Berry, Dacascos, Asia Kate Dillon, and Laurence Reddick. Before I go any further, I just want to say there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This is now the third film in the John Wick movie series. This film picks up literally right after the end of John Wick Chapter 2. So if you haven't seen John Wick Chapter 2, do not go any further because I'm going to spoil the end of that right now. And also, don't see the third one before you've seen the second one, and of course before you've seen the first one. John Wick now has a bounty on his head of $14 million. He has been excommunicated from the Continental, so he has no safe haven, and pretty much every single assassin in New York and the world now wants him because they all want a piece of that money, and this film is about him not only surviving this current predicament, but where does he go from here? If you remember from my review for John Wick Chapter 2, I absolutely love this series of movies. I thought the first one's fantastic, the second one was one of my favorite movies of 2016, and this one here is no exception. These films are some of the best modern mainstream action films that we are currently getting from any franchise. This film is so well done when it comes to the technical aspects. I was completely, once again, blown away by what I was seeing on screen. I have to say, Chad Stahelski, coming from the stunt work background like he has, knows exactly how to set up, choreograph, shoot, edit every single action scene with such precision. Just every single scene is adrenaline pumping, and you just feel so immersed in it. You can hear every single sound because the sound design and the sound editing is so good and meshes with the action on screen that you just feel the bones rattle and the bones breaking and just the gunfire and everything is just all in your face. I can't recommend enough seeing this on a big screen with all of the sound, with all of the aesthetics. It's really something to behold. I will also say that once again, Keanu Reeves is really good in this role as John Wick. He has now become this kind of iconic action star on the same level as someone like a James Bond, or an Ethan Hunt, or even a John McClane, something like that, where he's in that conversation, Jason Bourne as well, where just these super badass guys doing, of course, extraordinary superhuman things that obviously no one could be able to do in real life, but that is the essence of action films. Everything's kind of over the top. And once again, things are taken to another level in this film, where there are more interesting action sequences with more interesting scenarios in which John Wick is placed in, and he has to do a lot more because he is constantly on the move in this movie. This movie has such a breakneck pace to it. It is about 2 hours long, but you don't feel it at all because everything's moving forward. He's constantly going to a new place, fighting new foes, doing all of these things. And I also have to say that Halle Berry is a new character that we are introduced to in this film. She has a connection with his past, and we get to see more of the John Wick past kind of come to fruition in this film. We don't get a big glimpse at it, but we get, some more hints and some more information. We also get to see more information about this underground world of assassins and just how vast and diverse it is when it comes to a cultural aspect, as well as just, international geographically. Also, Ian McShane is reprising his role once again. He is, of course, fantastic. I also want to say that Dacascos is also really good in this film as well as Asia Kate Dillon, who both are playing new characters that are thrust into this world, but they fit very, very well. Like, you feel like they were here the whole time. And I also want to say that when it comes to the overall negatives I have with this film, it's something that is not unexpected with this franchise right now, is that when it comes to the story versus action ratio of what is utilized in the film or what is put in the film, it leans heavily towards the action side, and the story is very minimal in this film, at least from my perspective. If I had to give it a percentage-wise, we're talking 80% action versus like 20% story, or maybe even like 85% action and 15% story. It's that skewed in this film, and I found it to be more skewed than I remember the previous two films being. I thought those films were more balanced. Granted, of course, they leaned heavily on the action side as well, but this film just, the action goes on, and in some sequences I was so enraptured in the action because it was so lengthy that I kind of lost track of the plot for a moment or two. That's an overall kind of screenplay issue, but honestly, when it comes to what you're going to see these films for, it's the action. The action is, like I said, absolutely incredible. And the story in this film, when we got it, I thought was very interesting. So with all that being said, I'm going to give this film a rather high score of 4.2 out of 5 stars. This is one of the most entertaining films you will see this year. It is a film that I think is mostly action, so don't go into it for great story or great acting. You won't really get this here, but if you are fans of the first and second John Wick chapters, this one continues on all of the positive aspects that are in those films. This has been my review for John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.